Hello YouTube and welcome to my channel. What a miserable day it is out today. The rain. Anyway, getting back to my mower project here. I've actually swapped out and I went with a couple 12 volt batteries. Actually, let me show you what they look like. I should have probably opened them up, but they got good reviews, so I figured I'd give them a shot. If you can see it right there, I'm on a tripod here, so anyway, they're 12 volt batteries. I'll leave a link in the description. Golden Meat. They're 20 amp hour batteries, and let's move it back down this way. 20 amp hour batteries. So I wanted to go back to a 24 volt system, and supposedly these are made for a wheelchair. I have wheelchair wheelchair motors right there. So I figured what better than wheelchair batteries. Anyway, they claim that the 20 amp hour will give about 10 miles. Well, I don't have 10 miles. I barely have a quarter acre, so this should be plenty for me. I'm more worried about the speed. It's very slow. And my actuator and everything else will still work with 24 volts, so that shouldn't be a problem either. But actually what I wanted to do in today's video was I had used a winch relay to control the actuator, and to be honest with you, it didn't work well. I bought two of them. They both went bad after a week or so, and I said, you know what, I might as well just use relays. Okay, well, today's video is about relays. I wanted to talk a little bit about these relays. Basically what a relay is it's like a big light switch. Imagine, your light switch in your house. You turn on your lights, everything else. Well, that holds a certain amount of current or voltage or whatever it is. Well, these relays can hold a lot of voltage, amperage, but they only need, let's see, like a light trigger to turn them on. Like a light switch would be, you would just need something light to turn them on. Basically, meaning if you look at these relays, they have these different numbers on there and everything else. I'm not sure if it's going to focus in or not on them, but the numbers on a relay are, I'm going to turn it up this way. It's going to be 85 and 86. And those two are the ones that would trigger it. And then you have these other three connections here. I'll basically put it in here. You can use relays for anything from, say, to cutting off your starter in your car, to so many projects, everything. Anyway, the way I'm going to use them today is, the way a relay works is you need a positive and a negative to turn the relay on. And then you have these three wires which act as that act as your switch part. So I'm using this in a positive trigger, meaning I'm going to give it positive signal, 24 volts positive, and it's going to turn on. So the way I'm going to do this is that since I'm using a positive trigger and these two are the triggers, you have a black and a white. My black's going to go to ground and my white's going to be the trigger. And that's going to be on both relays. Okay, they're both going to do the same thing. One's going to work one way and one's going to work the other way. This is going to be called a reverse polarity relay. So now I'm left with 3 wires on one and 3 wires on the other. Now the red and yellow wires, which I'll pull these out again. The red and yellow wires are these connections right here, these two right here. This would be like basically power in, but if you give this one in power or ground, it's going to come up on this terminal, power or ground, when the relay's off. When you turn the relay on, it's going to open that up and then send power to the top one, or whatever you have on the bottom here, the positive or negative. It's going to send that to the top one after you give power to these two. Either positive or negative, it doesn't really matter. So basically the way I'm using this system is that I'm going to use this to reverse polarity something, meaning these are my 2 positive triggers coming in. These 2 are going to be ground. My center ones, which are the yellow wires, they're going to also go to ground, because what's going to happen is that when one relay gets power, okay, one's going to switch over to give me power on the blue line, and the other one's not going to do anything. And what that will do is this blue line now will become positive, and this yellow line will still become negative. That gives me my positive and negative for one way. And then the same thing in reverse direction on the other side. If I give this relay positive, okay, this one stays and does nothing, and the center terminal is just grounded, and then this one switches over to the blue one, gets positive. and that's the other trigger. So basically what we're doing is we're just taking the power from the red ones and we're jumping them up to the blue ones, but at the same time we're leaving the yellow ones connected to ground all the time. And that basically means that no matter what happens, there's always going to be ground on these center terminals. You can put ground on these, okay, or I'm sorry, you can put power on these, and I'm sorry, you're going to do it the other way. You can put power on these and it's going to send it back to these. They're going to be the output. So basically meaning that when you give power in to these ones up top here, it's going to bypass that one and shoot to the bottom one. This one's going to stay on a negative, and that's going to give you your power and ground. And then if you do the opposite way, let's say we gave power to this side, okay, the blue one, we give trigger to this side. This power is going to reverse down to this one, or it's actually going to switch to this one. And now we're going to have power on this side and ground on this side. So now the power is going to be on this way. So basically we're doing all this to make it simple. I guess I should really do a diagram too, but basically to make it simple is our white ones become our positive triggers, okay? We need a negative, so that would be the black ones. That turns the relay on and off, white and black. Blue one, we're going to give those power too. That's going to be positive, just a positive trigger all the time. Like I said, the yellow one and the black, these are going to be grounded all the time. So what we're going to see is power on these lines, ground on these wires. But nothing's going to come out of these lines except for ground, because that's what they're resting at, the yellow line and the red, until we turn them on. When we turn them on, then they'll go from red to blue. The blue will give power, jump over past the yellow so it doesn't give you ground, and it gives you positive. You know, I'll just wire them up real quick. This is my, it's kind of a, I'm just going to do a quick one. I'm probably going to put everything inside my box, but for now I'll just wire it up out here. And basically meaning these are my two triggers. So these two triggers coming out would come on the bottom here. These would be my red connections. And basically meaning that one's going to be resting at ground and one's going to go positive. Same thing when they're turned around, it's going to be the other way. But we're not going to be switching the wires. We're going to use these. This is the relays are the switch. I know it sounds confusing. It's been about 35 years since I really used these. I used to do car stereos and alarms. But basically, it's a very simple process. You know, you can also use this. Let's say you wanted to use this as a, if you just had one. I think I got a box over here. Another one. Let's say you wanted to use one and like maybe make like a starter kill or something for your car. When I was younger, I used to make it to where like I would use it as a positive trigger, like a rear defroster or something. So what you would do is you would get in your car wouldn't start with the key unless you pushed in the rear defroster. That would turn on your relay, and then you could start your car. It was like basically a cheap, I used to sell them, I think it was like $39.99 installed starter kills, you know. But I would do different things. Some people I would use the brake pedal. Some people I use the window motor. You know, I'd give them the option, whatever they wanted to do. But so let's say we wanted to use this as a starter kill relay. Those two lines now, these ones right here, you wouldn't use the blue one anymore. It would just be these two lines, the red and the yellow. Now the red would be giving you positive from the starter side. The black would go to ground. The white, the yellow, or I'm sorry, the white one would be your positive trigger again, and the yellow would go back out to your starter. And basically meaning that, you know, you go to turn on your car, normally the relay is going to click on, you go to start, nothing's going to happen. The relay is going to open up. It's going to get power out here, but it's not going to do anything because it's not connected to anything. So it's going to bypass the starter. But anyway, getting back to my mower here. That's basically the way it works. So with this one, these two were my triggers. I just remember because they had the connectors on them. So I'm going to hook up the powers first. Yeah, I'm going to be moving this inside, but this is all temporarily. This is all temporary. Yeah. So let's get our grounds together here. Our grounds are going to be these four. Yeah, it's a pain because I don't have a connector that big, so probably just hardwire these and do something later on. These positives will, again, these will go to the motor. Let's put them. You know what? Let me get my other. make it easy on myself. If I can find it. Yeah, so like I said, I'm going to wire this up outside, but I'm going to most likely put this inside this box and when I'm all done. I just figured I'd give a rundown how this works. So again, our whites are going to be our positive trigger inputs, and that's going to be this red and yellow line here. I'll say this again, this is just a temporary hookup, so it's not like it's going to matter. I'm going to waste connectors and everything just for YouTube. How about that? Yeah, because the wires go through it, and I'm going to have to pull them anyway, so. And it really doesn't matter which one you use. These are hooked up to my remote, and I'm not even sure which way. But the good thing about it is if you don't like it that way, you can always reverse it. I don't have any kind of power going on. I have the my little keys off. Oh, got me. My little. All right. Yeah, these are heat shrinkable crimp connectors, but again, I'm not going to be. This is all going to be taken apart. All right, so basically this is my power and ground now. I'm going to want power coming out and, well, actually power going in. So that's going to be my two top blue ones. They're going to be power in, and the red's going to go power out when they switch back and forth. So let's get this one over here. Yeah, I don't know if I have. Try the yellow one. Not even sure if both these will go in here. Yeah, I'm going to be redoing this connection anyway, so. All right. I just don't know why, but those other relays just don't work out well. They just don't do anything. I had two of them go bad in a week, and it wasn't raining, it wasn't wet, it wasn't doing anything. Oh, and the fuses are protected inside here. So this red wire is protected by a fuse in here. Now, unfortunately with that ground one, I'm just going to wire it because I don't have anything big enough. Do good old-fashioned wiring. Good old-fashioned wire and tea. I know everything nowadays is just connectors, and actually, you know what? I think I do have one of the. Oh, you know what? I don't know if I have one that does 5. Let me check though. It's gonna. Again, this is going to be I'm going to be redoing this anyway, so I don't really. Doesn't really matter. Let's put another one on there. Get some tape for that. And of course, I thought I had it right here. Got some nice 3M blue tape. Picked up a whole bunch of stuff at a flea market really cheap one day. It's terrible. That's because the camera's in my way. What I used to do too is I used to put wire ties over them, just so they would never come apart. All right, and then we have this piece here. Two more connections. And again, it doesn't really matter. You can switch them back and forth, which one's one trigger and which one's the other trigger. Probably can't see anything. I'm probably not in frame. When I go to put these inside, I'll do another video of showing all my electronics and everything. Okay. Let's just do this for now. I'll just... The weather out there is crazy. All right, let's just put a wire tie on this for the time being. More. Okay. I haven't even turned this mower on yet with this 24-volt battery, so hopefully I have no issues. Let me get my remote. Find my remote here. Where's it at? There it is. All right, so here's my remote. I'm going to turn it on. And let's see, so I think it would be, oh, I got to turn this on. Okay, so once that's on, it now shows 26 volts down here. That moves it one way. So there's the relays clicking, if you can hear it. Can you see it? There's one way. Yeah, nice and fast too. I'm waiting on my welding bottle, my gas for my welding, so I can finish this thing up, but it works out well. So, and if you can hear, that's the relays clicking. So that's basically the way a relay works. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe I should go better over this side. See a little bit better. There's one way, and there's the other way. My next thing will be the power, but unfortunately it's raining out. I don't even want to get this thing wet. So I guess that'll end this video today. But anyway, this was more or less about the relays and how relays work. My camera's falling all over the place here. So there's like a quick rundown on how a relay works. Let me shut this thing off. It doesn't go anywhere. And turn this thing off. Yeah, this thing will beep. It has like a fail safe on it when you shut off the one. So with that, I can even make a remote holder on top of the batteries. A lot smaller and stuff. So I really like that. Anyway, stay tuned for more videos. After the weather gets a little better, I'm dying to try this thing. The batteries are fully charged and they're ready to go. Again, they say that I get 10 hours out of them. I'll see what happens. Oh, you know the other thing I wanted to check out? Let me see it. All right, let's see if I also have... That's what I was worried about. Okay, it still works. Yeah, good. My flashing light, not a problem. I thought it was a 1224 volt. And then, of course, the relay to open it on. Well, there's no batteries in the mower, but that would work too. So, all right, perfect. I like it. So, anyway, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next videos. I will see you soon. Take care, YouTube. Like and subscribe.